Hello everyone. Before beginning with this video, I want to introduce my team members. Myself, Akansha Sharma, Jhalak Raizada, Mehek Mida, Manya Jain, and Sneha Devnath.
मुझे बस आपसे एक चीज पूछनी थी।
पूछिए।
आर यू अ क्या वर्जिन है? वर्जिन है क्या?
आप है क्या?
उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
आज तो खो दो जी।
There is one thing that every Indian girl must guard with her Y plus security. Means her precious flower, यानी कि पूरे परिवार की इज्जत यानी कि her virginity. But what's so special about a woman's virginity? Why women's virginity become अक्खे society का मामला? Let's start with a simple but important revelation. Virginity is an entirely made up concept. So, who invented it and why? In times of hunter gatherer societies, human sexuality wasn't as gender or as taboo as it is today. But about 3000 to 5000 years ago, as civilization developed around agriculture, they began to adopt the notion of private property. And once private property became a thing, people began to amass land and pass ownership down through families.
At around the same time, societies also shifted from being matrilineal to patrilineal, meaning that it became important to be able to identify a man's biological heirs. And so, concepts like virginity and adultery became important and were strictly enforced to ensure that any children born to a family were legitimate heirs. Through centuries, organized religion continued to emphasize the value of a woman's virginity before marriage. From Virgin Mary in the Bible to Unisuchita in Manusmriti to Ahalya in Ramayana, a woman's virginity was used to describe not only the purity of her vagina but also her character. In colonial India, the pious Indian women became a symbol of nationalism. History was invoked to portray Indian women as strong and pure, someone who would burn in a fire or jump in the well before falling into the hands of a foreign invader.
We can clearly see that now with coming up of DNA tests, it is easier to make sure about a person's heirs. Then why is women's virginity an issue even now? In the 1960s, as premarital sex became more acceptable in the West, the emphasis on women's virginity in India only increased. Now, the virginal woman came to represent Indian culture and tradition in the face of morally corrupted Western values. This is how the concept of a woman's honor became even further intervened with national pride. In the 1990s, the emphasis on a woman's honor increased, with the Hindustani girl being portrayed as pious or innocent and her izzat being equated to the whole country's izzat.
इन अदाओं का जमाना भी है दीवाना, दीवाना क्या कहेगा?
ओ छोड़ दो आचल, जमाना क्या कहेगा? पर्दे में रहने दो, पर्दा ना उठाओ, पर्दे में रहने दो, पर्दा ना उठाओ, पर्दा जो उठ गया तो भी खुल जाएगा।
हिंदुस्तानी नहीं है ना?
और हम हिंदुस्तानी। हमारी संस्कृति में लड़के लड़कियां शादी से पहले ऐसे संबंध नहीं मानते।
और मैं जानता हूँ कि एक हिंदुस्तानी लड़की की इज्जत क्या होती है।
Today, even though movies have started portraying liberated women, we are still not comfortable with female lead having sex with anyone other than the hero who she ends up marrying. In fact, studies show that 76% of men in the arranged marriage circuit would refuse to marry a girl if she is not a virgin.
It's okay to have fun with whoever you want, but जिस लड़की से शादी करो, that girl needs to be pure.
Pure. Like he.
She is not a virgin.
Nor am I.
तो वो अलग बात है.
Till date, newlywed women in India are subjected to invasive and illegal two finger test, or if not that, they must endure their in laws checking their bed sheets to see if they bleed after their first night. The pressure of being virgin before marriage has led to 20 to 30% increase in hymen reconstruction surgeries, and it has also led to some products like vaginal tightening gel and artificial hymens. But perhaps even more dangerous than this literal application of the concept of virginity is the notion that virginity is a sign of women's character. Women's virginity is pointed at many cases, whether she is out late at night, whether she is wearing skimpy clothes, or whether she is out and about with a boy. Anything that girl does which hints all the signs that she has a thread of not being virginity proves that she is unspoiled, not good, and not a pure person.
For sexually active women, this creates judgments and biases, which have a direct impact on our mental and bodily autonomy, be it while buying contraceptives at the chemist's or even at gynec's office.
Now, talking about a malpractice related to virginity. I want to tell a story about a community. The community name is Khanjar. Basically, as we know, wedding is a dream day of every person, but it has turned into a nightmare for many brides from this community called Khanjar. There is a couple right after marriage is required to consummate their marriage, but actually this ritual is followed to find whether the bride is virgin or not. A committee sits outside the room, and as soon as the groom comes out, he is asked whether the mal was khara or khota. If they find a blood stain on bedsheet, then the bride is welcomed, else there are variety of punishment. Like she is socially boycotted, her family is asked to pay a fine to groom's family. She might be beaten, or she might be forced to live like a slave with her in-laws, or may face inacceptable torture. Thus, for this, we hosted a discussion with people of age group from 18 to 25. This is not an attempt to defame the community, but it is just to bring out all the segments of this issue.
But the females, if they're virgin, if the male is khara or khota, so nobody gives a shit about males.
Have you heard about that practice female genital mutilation FGM? She's like a property of her father and then her husband.
Like illiteracy can be one of the major reasons for this majorly happening in rural areas.
Cause for this is the mentality of the society. जो हमारी society है ना, जैसे genes gets transformed from one generation to another, ऐसे जो mentality बनी है ना, वो generation to generation pass on होती जा रही है.
Mentality is something you really can't change. You can talk to people about it.
उनको चेंज करने की कोशिश करोगे, they will react to it. For example, if I say कि कल से या next year से आप लोग दिवाली मनाना बंद कर दो, तो what would be your reaction? तो उनकी मेंटालिटी को चेंज करने के लिए हम ओवरनाइट प्रैक्टिस स्टार्ट नहीं कर सकते ना, उनको एजुकेट कर सकते, क्योंकि वो लोग उस चीज को एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे.
Second reason is the females are not true to oneself. जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि औरत ही औरत की दुश्मन होती है. That
We have come a long way, virtually in every arena. since our ancestors piloted this idea of a clean woman in our mind. So it's a little strange that our society still holds on so tightly to this one idea. After all, virginity is a social construct, and a social construct continues to have power only until we uphold it. Just like we have built it years ago, we can smash it out of existence. So, should we give it a try?
दिल है छोटा सा छोटी सी आशा मस्ती भरे मन की भोली सी आशा चांद तारों को छूने की आशा आसमानों में उड़ने की आशा दिल है छोटा सा छोटी सी आशा